What is up, world? This is Kimberly and Connor Tracy over here at Big Red SEO in Omaha, Nebraska.
Hey, guys.
It is one hot mofo out there today. Quite interesting. Last week we had tons and tons of rain, and then there were some beautiful days with some wind blowing. There was at least 1 or 2 nights we actually slept with the windows open, which was super cool. It wasn't super hot. And then all of a sudden we went straight into summer, high humidity. And it's funny because I looked over at Conor today and I was like, hey, when the weather gets hot, this is what happens in Kim's world. I was like, when the weather gets hot, do your hands hurt? And he's like, yeah, like it was like a known thing. And I was like, I think this year is the first year that I actually realized my hands hurt based on doing so much project work at the computer, right?
Not only that, I mean, my hands will hurt, of course. And then, of course, they'll swell because of the heat.
Yeah.
And then I can't wear my ring because of the heat.
Right.
And
so he's like, it's sausages, typing sausages. So I don't know what the weather is like where you're at, but if you have some beautiful weather, in the comments, let us know. If you have some not so beautiful weather, put it in the comments and let us know, right? Like
the last I saw, the entire U.S. is in a heat wave, except for a storm coming in from like Florida, Texas area, something like that.
Somewhere.
But the rest of the world, who knows? So yeah, join in.
Who knows what's going on? Well, hey, we actually wanted to tune in today with you guys about getting creative. Specifically, we want to narrow down on website design, right? If you followed us for a while, or maybe you're brand new, who knows? Watching live or replay, thank you so much for tuning in. So the thing is with a website, like sometimes people take the philosophy of set it and forget it. Like they use a website as a brochure. However, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do within a website to kind of make things look different and kind of a little bit edgy, flip things in and flip things out, right? That actually keeps the end users enticed and they come back and they feel like, oh my gosh, there's a breath of fresh air in a service. Any business can actually take some of these tips and as well as recommendations and mentorship and apply them to their business specifically. We always recommend for you, make sure that you're in line with whatever we're saying. So just because we say it doesn't mean that you need to do it, right? Basically make sure it's good for your business as well as your model and your branding and so forth. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So Connor, this was actually one of your favorite things to chat about. So I'm going to let you drive with the things, mainly because Connor audited a lot of websites this week and he was like, it looks exactly the same as the last time that they contacted us, right? Which is no bueno. It's never good to know like a year to 3 to 5 years later, the website looks exactly the same. And or it has a copyright from 3 to 2 years to 1 year ago. So if you don't have your copyright from 2019 to 2020, go update that now, right? Like you can pause us and go update it or dual screen and update your copyright. But Connor, what are some of the creative things that you recommend?
Update it. Go ahead and just end it right now.
No,
actually, a lot of where this stems from, so we were looking around at different websites earlier this week. Yeah. And there was an item on one of the websites that we really, really wanted. So we called the owner, listed on the website, and come to find out that they had already sold it like a year ago.
Oh, so annoying.
So it's like, well, it matches everything and everything that we wanted. And come to find out, no, it's no longer available. So that's where a lot of this particular thing comes from, this particular topic anyway. Yeah. It's frustrating as an end user to not have that information. You know? We actually dealt with a client this morning, not just an hour ago. Yeah. Dealing with a hosting company, which I'm not going to name.
Not going to name. We don't name.
Yeah. But anyway, basically... come to find out they have changed their entire business model and the hosting plan that they've been on for the last 3 years, 4 years.
Right.
Suddenly, it's no longer designed for WordPress. It's now designed for a static HTML site. So they have downgraded resources in the back end, not told anybody, not updated their website, not told their clients, and now their clients are facing issues on the website. So again, it's another case of not having something updated. Right. And in this particular case, it's now going to lead to them losing a customer because they need these resources. But you can't even say, go ahead and upgrade to the next plan because Now that you've got a proven track record of just changing things on a whim, how do you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of my own frustration of things, especially this past week, just with regards to updates. But when we're dealing from an SEO perspective, since we are an SEO company and that's what we deal with 99% of the time, Google focuses on updated content within your website.
Right.
Because they want to show the latest updates that are available. So if, for whatever reason, you're not updating your website or you haven't updated it, let's say in the last year, let's use 1 year as being an example, why should they show your website versus Bob down the road who updated his website 2 weeks ago?
Right.
Now, there are certainly industries like a car repair or a body shop kind of company. Technology is not changing enough that they can really update the content in their site, but they may have some use case scenarios or some situations they helped with the client where they can actually storytell, do a blog post, do a before and after picture, or hey, we've completed 20 of these vehicles this week.
Right.
Or what's the sudden trend with all the Honda Accords showing up? It doesn't matter what the topic happens to be, but it is new content and it's relative to your industry. And that's something that Google wants to see. It is a focus that they're using, is updated content.
I actually think like when it comes to car dealerships or car repairs or body shops or even a detailing company, anything else like that, it's actually really easy for you to create content in your website and keep it consistently going, right? Because in theory, guys, like you need the content in your blog to be relevant based on your industry, which your main industry is it's a car, right? So you got cars, you got parts, you got different tools. What are you DIYing? Why should you do this? Why should you not do this? What do you need to avoid? Are you looking to go buy a new car? Okay, cool. Watch out for these things whenever you buy a used car or you go into a big box dealership or a small box dealership. Granted, it's not the service that's relevant to you right now, but think about this. Somebody can actually be doing research, getting ready to buy a car. Then your blog article teaches them what to watch out for or the things that they need to know. And then guess what happens? Guess who they're going to get their oil change, to get their car repaired, to get their tires flipped out versus actually going to the dealership. So I think like cars in theory, I love that you use that example because you can actually create content galore and then like add seasonal on top of that, right? So the summer hot, don't put bacon on your dash, right? You showed me something like the dashboard with cactuses. I was like, we are not growing cactuses on our dash in our car.
It was really cool. They had a whole desert scene. They took out the passenger airbag. And they took that out and then turned that all into a desert
we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
It was the coolest thing.
It was actually kind of cool. It was kind of neat. But the thought in theory is like if you're in a vehicle industry, no matter what the service is, there's stuff that you can write about in a content. Worst case scenario, I remember this tip whenever I very first started, and I don't really tell a lot of people it now, but gosh, is a genius. Go buy magazines and flip through and see what are the magazines talking about. Like, think about this. These magazines spend tons and tons of time in branding and marketing and writers and researchers and all this different information. You don't want to copy the article verbatim, right? Like, don't copy the same title tags and the descriptions. What you need to do is like whenever we were in school and you had to write a paper, you read the article or you read the information, figure out, okay, what do you agree with? What do you not agree with? What would you change, adapt? How do you make it more you so that it's your voice coming through and you're sharing value? And don't just fucking write content to write content, guys. It has to be value add and knowledge based, right? But the thought process is you already have a baseline. So go grab magazines. Magazines come out once a month or multiple times a month. You can get them free at the library, half price bookstore, wherever. And some of the material winds up being the evergreen content where it doesn't expire. But then like you could also have seasonal. And this isn't just for automotives now, right, guys? This is pretty much any industry. Even our industry has seasons, right? If somebody has a shopping cart and they're selling a product, Christmas is going to be where they're going to want to make the most of their money, right? That's a season.
You know, we're in June right now. Christmas for us is going to start the next 2 months because if you don't have everything lined up, if you don't have your audits done and all the preparations done, you're not going to rank for November, which means you're not going to show in December.
It's super interesting because I think for us, like September is a good month for us to kind of like chillax a little, although this last September was record breaking. But then October through until like March, it's like hell on wheels, and we just go, go, go.
Right.
We do take care of ourselves better now than we did ever before, right? Self-care is required. This guy knocks on my shoulders like, hey, what are we having for food? Lunch, breakfast, dinner, yeah. So you figure out all those logistics. But yeah, I would say the Christmas time for product service businesses is really, really popular.
Right. And not just for individual products. If you think of it from a coupon end of things, you need to have all those things set up, prepped, and ready before the season actually comes in.
Absolutely.
So definitely get that stuff in line and start posting it online.
Yeah.
You can sell a coupon for a service in June that doesn't apply until October.
Absolutely.
We see that with the cruise industry and the airline industry. Buy now and you must use it between this particular month and that particular month. Of course, the airline and cruise industry right now is a very bad example. So I'll go ahead and
just go ahead and remove that one. Remove that one.
But no, I mean, we're dealing with content. So I use the camera here. It's a Canon M50. So it's a good entry level.
Y'all, he's talking about his subject that he loves right now.
It's a good entry level camera, but it does have restrictions. Like as you watch us right now, it doesn't have autofocusing.
Yeah.
And it has to do with how the cable comes out of the camera. So when you read every article about this for the last 2 years, this camera sucks.
Or if you were the spouse that had to listen to it.
Right. This camera doesn't do this, therefore don't buy it. Spend the extra $200 on this other camera instead.
Right.
Well, in April of this year, Canon came out with a piece of software that now you can get what's called a clean HDMI out using their cable and stuff like that.
Right.
So all those other places, and how this is relevant is that last night I was doing some more research on, because I'm always researching.
Always.
I was doing some more
researching.
Looking for a particular item for this camera. And all the articles I was coming up with were articles from 2018 and 2019 and all the features that existed back then. But nobody's actually updated those articles for 2020. Mm-hmm. And especially the update that Canon made back in April. You had the tech magazines that made their updates, but nobody else did.
Right.
And that's a problem. Our microphones are the same thing. If people say, go with this, go with this, go with this, but they really haven't looked at what 2020 has to offer.
Right.
And it's a different world. So the tech industry in particular updates very, very fast. So you should be updating your products and your information online.
For sure.
But there are certain other products that, of course, are probably not. Like a jewelry industry is not necessarily new technology, but you might have a new featured item.
Or new releases, or maybe your highest profit product, right? Mm-hmm. And you decide to amp it up a little bit. So here's the deal. So we're talking a lot about shopping carts and as well as niched areas. But if you just have a basic website, here's what we recommend. We recommend at minimum updating your images at least once a quarter, guys. So I can't tell you how many times we've done website design audits, right? For companies that are like, hey, we just want to know where we're at. Either A, they don't have any images of the owner or the employees at all. I can tell you right now, there's less chance of a conversion if you do not have your headshot or an actual smiling face and or eyeballs and a mouth that doesn't look like a stock photo, right? It just does not happen anymore. The sales go down, bounce rates are huge. You actually found that out. But in addition to that, like switching your images out based on seasonal or what are you doing? But we come across site audits where we'll get on a video Zoom and it's like when the dating where they don't update the images. It's the same thing happens, right? We're like, whoa, like on the website, it's like 5 years ago, 20 years ago. And you're like, oh, wait, like that's not the same thing.
The dating websites are wonderful. People upload their high school or their college graduation pictures because, those were staged photos and they look great. Yeah. But it's been 25 years, buddy. Time to get a different photo.
And here's the deal, though, also from an energetic standpoint, because I come from there, you've energetically changed, right? Like we have an essence, and that comes often in photography, studio, or even if you do your own images. But here's what I will tell you. It was several episodes back. We've talked about this the whole entire time. Storytelling is really important when it comes to website content as well as blog content, right? But storytelling is also important whenever it comes to actual images and or videos as well, right? It's something that a lot of people don't take the time to do, but if you have case studies or if you have reviews and testimonials, don't just do a traditional review, write something up about it, right? Now, I am saying that and we guide people in doing that. We don't do that ourselves, right? Like, so it's so funny that it's like, go and do this creative thing, right? But we actually don't do it. A couple reasons. Our focus is on video, right? But we do help a lot of people try and figure out how do you how do you stand out from the competition, and in what way can you tell your story authentically for you, but then at the same time be able to update your website enough that you ask the search engines to come back. Right. So when you update it, you come back, and you don't have to delete the previous images from your website. That's the other cool thing. You don't draft them, you don't delete them, you just leave them there, and then Google indexes those as well. So if you type your company name, this is my typer up here, if you type your company name into Google and then you go image search, all your images should show up if you did the right SEO.
Yeah, if you did the alt tags, title tags, stuff like that, then your images stand a better chance of coming up. Also, the way that image search works, it also has to do with content on the page itself. So the words that are around the image actually play a factor with how that image ranks. And when I was at Google back in
it was
November,
yeah.
So last year I went to the Webmaster Conference, and this was one of the things that we're talking about, was how it just in terms of the rendering of the page and the images, that the words that end up around the image actually play a factor with the ranking of that image, and vice versa. If your image shows up and it's left aligned, it's going to tie more to that the content that's on the left side of the screen versus the stuff that's at the end of the sentence.
And another thing to think about in getting creative is video, right? So you can do intro videos about your company. You can do casual videos of just saying hello to somebody that you're welcoming to your website. The other thing too is you can actually do casual videos of what can somebody expect. And or if you write a blog article, which is super awesome because then the search engines can index that fully, right? Then you can actually do a video synopsis of what that specific article was and actually add that video into your blog article. So that way, if you get the person that likes the video, they'll watch the video. The person that likes to read, they actually read. Yep. The whole key area of this episode, guys, it's not necessarily the flashy creative, right? Like, yeah, you can do that. You can make graphics. There's like canva.com. It's free. There's a lot of different graphic stuff that's free out there. But the thought process is, what way can you actually create a structure where you're in your website pretty consistent, minimum of once a week?
Minimum of once a month.
Yeah,
your goal should be once a week.
I would say minimum once a week if you really want to take SEO serious, right?
True.
So there's multiple different things. You can add a review 1 week, then you can add a blog article 1 week. You can edit some content, flip some images out. You're already at 4 weeks, right? There's really no excuse.
It's almost similar to social media. As you're posting stuff on Facebook, you should be posting stuff on your website.
Absolutely. So it's like cross-marketing, right? But you don't want to machine gun it. So if you post it on social media, you don't want to immediately publish a blog and then immediate blah, blah, blah. So use some kind of structure, right? Some kind of publication. You could just do a publication schedule. Type that into Google. You could find tons of templates. But the thought and theory on getting creative is once you get the ball rolling, guys, it's really easy to keep maintaining. This is called the compound effect. So you just keep the ball going. Same thing with reviews. When you get a review from someone on Google, you can create an image, and then you can share it on your website, and then import it there, and then share it on social media. There's all this like co-creation that can happen that you don't have to do a whole lot of effort, but you do have to have the system, right? And we find more times than not, people just don't have the system, and then they're like, well, shit, this stuff's not working, so I'm just going to quit. Well, that's not really realistic, right? At the end of the day, you want to be like fresh and clean for your end users, and you want them to be excited to come back to the website, not just because you might have a new product or a service, but if you have the same product and service that you've had for 25 years, I guarantee you can do a different image, a different style, and make it pop on the website just like that. People will be like, where did this business come from? Well, it's been around for 25 years, right?
And if you take those old articles, and we're doing this even within our own website, where you take some of those older articles, maybe some things have changed, or maybe your process has changed, and make tweaks to that article, extend the article. We have a handful that we've gone through just recently that, you know, when we audit everything internal, and you see 3 different articles, 2014 and 2016 and whatnot. And there were 3 different articles that kind of said the same thing. So we took them all, combined them into one big article, did the redirects, and then posted that as new. It's still relevant. It's as Kim said, the evergreen content.
Yeah.
It's stuff that is relevant no matter when, whether you look at it now or looked at it 5 years ago, it's
Absolutely.
still relevant. This video will be relevant in the next year, next 2 years, next 3 years.
Yep.
This is a topic that'll be relevant. There will be a blog article on this topic that'll go on our website,
Right.
and this video will go inside of it.
So Connor said it on video. It's done.
Yeah,
So
but while we're doing Connor said it on video, since Kim wants to hold me accountable on that, can you hold accountable that we'll get that image on our homepage changed out?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
I don't do that shit on video, y'all. Like, no. I'm not holding myself accountable on that at all. We do need to do it, right? We have several images to flip out. If it gets done, it will. If not, Connor's going to do it, and that's the accountability on the video, right?
Can you see me going completely red?
It's super right, because the boss just put the hammer down and said, no, I'm not doing that.
Absolutely not.
The last thing to talk about, guys, for creativity. So if you are in an industry and you are looking to step forward as an industry leader, which I think everybody realistically is wanting to do that, there's this thing called fear. We get it. We understand it. Push through it anyway. So here's the deal is a lot of times what happens is people don't really know, okay, I need to write this content. This is a really great subject. I don't know if people read it or they won't read it. The only way you're going to find out is if you actually do it and you practice it over and over and over, do A/B testing, track your Google Analytics, and then eventually you'll get into the rhythm and you'll start to see, hey, what is happening and what's going on? Here's another thing is if you actually have current clients right now, ask them to do a quick breeze through your website and label the 3 things that they love most. If they can't give you 3 things, you need a new website design, call us. We'll do WordPress and we'll make it really cool.
And if they give you a list of things they hate,
so here's the deal.
Definitely pay attention
I would
to that.
almost make sure that you do get the thing that they don't like, right? Because then all of a sudden you can actually get rid of a problem in your website without even having somebody else have to tell you about it. Instead, it's a friend or partner or somebody that's a little more casual
and
or
maybe,
more rough. I don't know.
Maybe hate is the wrong word, but something that they don't necessarily like.
Like pop-ups.
So there's an entire, no matter what website you go to, even yourself, there is a website that you've gone to and they do something that you're not happy about.
I will have a bitch session. This is what pisses me off. If you
hang on. This is a segment called Kim's Rant.
No, if you have a shopping cart and you have products that you're selling and you have that little notification that pops up that says so-and-so bought from Texas and so-and-so bought from da-da-da and so-and-so da-da-da, and you ask us to do an audit and you have 0 sales and no customers, I'm pissed the fuck off because I'm like, you're lying. Like, you're literally lying to say that you have sales to try and get somebody because they want to see and they want to compare, or they're fear-based and, oh my gosh, I'm missing out. Knock that shit off, guys. I get that it's part of a system. I'm not going to say what shopping cart is part of. I think there's all different kinds.
There's a lot.
But here's the deal is, at the end of the day, be honest and be truthful. You don't have to flag that so many people are buying your product. Just sell your damn product, right? It's one of my biggest pet peeves. And people are like, well, I don't understand why I'm not getting sales. Well, if somebody sees that flashing over and over and over, they might think, this business is doing really good. Based on the fact I just saw 14 million of them, they're making millions. I don't need to buy from them. I'll go find a small mom and pop shop.
Or people who think like Kim, where it's, you're wanting to buy something. Here you go. She's wanting to buy something unique.
Yeah.
And then you see on a regular basis that all these other people have it. Therefore, Kim says, well, it's no longer unique and I don't really want it.
Yeah.
There are handmade systems. There are handmade products that have a limited quantity, and those are perfectly fine to do.
Limited quantity, I'm down with. I would rather no limited quantity than not. But I don't want to be lied to say that you got 50 million sales and you actually don't. Here's my second pet peeve. I actually downloaded an app from a restaurant, and I'm like trying to I'm standing in line because it's a 45-minute wait to order dinner, and I'm trying to download the app. And what they did was every single location, they actually had a picture of food versus the actual building. So I'm like, I do live my life quite present, but at this moment I was a little bit confused. And I was like, well, this is a limited menu because a lot of restaurants are going to limited menus right now. I'm like, this is the limited menu. They don't even have anything that we would eat. So therefore, I didn't do the app and I continued to stand in line for 45 minutes. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, like, do you have a limited menu? He says, no. And I said, okay, well, in your app, it shows this and it only has this food. And he's like, well, no, those are the locations. Don't use fucking food for your locations of your building and your address.
It's got a picture of a burger on one, a picture of
chicken tacos and whatever.
One.
Don't do that. Like, I get that you want to feature and highlight your food. Super cool. The food's really, really delicious. I'm not going to say who it is. But put the picture of your damn building. Put a picture of employees. I don't care. Just don't put food. It doesn't make sense. Food and address. Google's going to be like, I don't know why this image is being used. Now, from that standpoint, it is an app, so it's not really indexed by Google. So it's a different situation. But from an end user experience, it's really not a fucking good idea.
So with all of that, we're going to wrap things up. Down below, we've got
Casey
social
said
media.
She hates those things too. Yay! Yay!
So the social media stuff's down below.
That was my rant. I think that's the first rant I've ever had in the history of our entire videos.
It's not the first rant, believe me.
Okay.
Go back and look at some of the other rants. Maybe I'll put a collage together of all the things.
All the things. Well, hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in live or the replay. We'll be tuning back in next Friday at 1 p.m. And so stay tuned.
All right, guys. Have a great day now. Thanks so much.